Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Ilona with Spiritual Giant, and thank you for joining me today. This reading is actually really interesting because it really resonates with some of the messages that I've been seeing in the collective, some of the writings that I've been reading, and just some of the information that I've been channeling in the collective. And so if you're not following me on Facebook, Spiritual Giant OBX, I encourage you to do so, because I shared an article today that was a transcript of a hypnosis session that talks about almost exactly the same messages that I'm going to talk about today. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the reading. And the first two cards actually fell out of the deck when I was shuffling, and they came out together. And so as always, we do we do the situation, action, outcome, the internal energy, external energy, bottom of the deck, and then I pulled two other cards just for additional messages and clarification. So what we've got to start with as a situation is this is the Ace of Wands and the Two of Cups. And what's interesting is in this particular deck, this is called Passion Ignited, and this is called Spiritual Union. And the situation right now that the collective, that the planet is experiencing, is that there is an awakening. There is a passion that is being ignited. There's a flame that is being ignited in our heart centers that is urging us, that is working with us as a collective energy to regain connection back to source, to remember who we are, to remember that we are divine beings, that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and that our mission here is to connect back to God, back to Creator, back to Source, and for the purpose of love and wholeness. And the messages here are just uncanny. So, we've got this situation is that there's this passion that has been ignited in a big group of people to be called to this spiritual union, to be called to this union back to your higher self, which of course is an extension of Source. So it's being called back to God, back to wholeness, back to one, to be realizing that our mission is internal love. And, yes, we share the planet with other human beings, but it's about our connection to ourselves, to our higher selves, to our Creator. So that's the situation. The action card that came out is Deception and Envy, the Seven of Swords, which is what I'm getting here is removing the mask. And this article talked about removing the veil. And that's what this is. The action card is if you want this connection, if you want to work with this passion, if you want to create this spiritual union, you've got to work to remove the veil. And the veil, of course, is the ego. So you've got to remove the ego mask. Remove the idea that you are your ego, that you are your job, that you are your accomplishments, that you are all of these 3D constructs that we put on ourselves. That it's time to remove the mask, to remove the veil, to remove the ego, and understand that we are all connected. We are all from the exact same source, and we are all one. And we need to stop living in separation and get back to wholeness, get back to being connected to each other. That's the action step. And the outcome is the Lover's card. So again, this is the exact same messages that I've been reading. So it's not surprising to me. And, I always draw the cards off camera for the purpose of saving time. And you just have to trust, guys, that these are the cards that came out. And it's literally blowing my mind. I'm loving this particular message and this synchronicity here. Because I haven't done a reading in the last 2 weeks, or at least on YouTube. I've done some on Facebook. I did some live readings, but I haven't done one in a while. And I really wasn't going to do one. And I got really called this afternoon, really urged by Spirit to just go ahead and do it. So, the situation is we're being called into oneness. We are being called into this spiritual union with our higher self, with our creator. The action step is to remove the veil, remove the ego, remove the mask, and the outcome is harmony. This is a 6. This is the Lover's card in the traditional tarot, and this is all about creating harmony and love, with as within, so without. So we're creating that harmony and love within ourselves. We, as a collective, as a community, as a society, we seek to solve our problems and our challenges outside of ourselves, when everything that we experience is mirroring from within. And so the answer is always, always, always within. I even posted a little video this morning that talked about when someone is less than pleasing to you, it's never about you. It's always about them. And we take everything so personally. And again, the outcome card here is harmony. It's love. It's peace. It's calmness. That will be the outcome of tapping into that spiritual union, removing the veil, removing the ego, the 3D idea of ourselves that, we are these physical bodies, and that, we are bankers and lawyers and spiritual teachers, and that's not who we are. We are extensions of source energy. We are creations of the divine, and we are here to experience love in its highest form, which is self-love, connection to source. The internal energies that we're working with right now, no surprise here, heart chakra. Okay, so this is heart chakra activations. And what this is saying is that internally, your guidance team, your inner self, your angels, they're trying to talk to you. They're trying to reach you. And this heart chakra is the 4th chakra. It sits in your chest area. And it's the connection between the lower 3 chakras, which are our earthly grounding chakras, and the upper 3 chakras, which are our spiritual chakras. This is the heart center. This is where they are connected. And it's the 4th one, so it's the middle of the 7. Now we have thousands, hundreds of thousands of chakras, but these are the main 7 that we work with at this time. There will be a time in the future when we start working with more. I think it's 19 or 20 that we'll be working with, but as of right now, we're working mainly with the 7. And it's surprising to me how many people aren't aware of the chakra systems, and I talk about it and they say, what are chakras? And it's just surprising to me that there's still so many people who don't know what they are. So if you don't know what they are, do take some time to read about them. There's a lot of great resources out there. But the internal energy that we're dealing with right now is the heart chakra activation. So really start working with connecting to your intuition, listening to your heart center instead of to your ego mind. Which is interesting because the external energy is the envy card. Okay. And so what I'm getting from this is that, there's going to be waves of people that come into this awareness and have this awakening. And, there's going to be people watching what you're going through and how you are creating your harmony and your bliss. And there's going to be externally some pushback. I mean, anytime you make a major change like that, their egos may not understand. They may not be in the same wave as you. So just be aware that you could experience a little bit of pushback, and the goal is just to send them some of your love. Just send them love, because they just don't understand. Okay, which is interesting because the surrender card that we got says, surrender the habit of people pleasing. And so instead of trying to make other people happy as you've experienced this pushback, if you do, and some of you won't because you don't allow that kind of energy in your vibration, but some of you might. So it says, speak your needs and be true to yourself. Focus on your own happiness instead of always trying to make everyone else happy. And the truth of the matter is, if you're not happy, you can't make anyone else happy. So it really always is an inside job. And then the numerology card that we got is number 5. It says change. And so this is the time, and notice that it's green. So it's time to start listening to our heart and listening to that heart center instead of to the head, instead of to the ego, the 3D identity. It's time to make that shift and make that change from, always trying to please everybody else to removing the mask, letting go of that ego, letting go of that 3D self, change into the spiritual, high vibrational being that you were meant to be. And the bottom of the deck, when I was shuffling for the main 3 cards, is the Eight of Cups. And I like this card. This is the overall theme or the overall energy of this particular reading. And the Eight of Cups is all about walking away from things that are no longer serving you. It's about knowing that there's a higher purpose and a higher mission for your life. And it's the desire of wanting something more. It's knowing that, okay, hey, what I've got right here in this 3D world is just not, it's not fulfilling. And if you're missing that internal connection, if you're missing that spiritual union, if you're missing that passion, you're definitely feeling called to walk away from all of those things that aren't serving you anymore. And that is the overall energy. And so it's interesting, if you're finding this video, obviously you need to hear some of these messages. Take what resonates and leave the rest behind. But the whole planet is going through this awakening and ascension process, and we're starting to really see people walking away, from things that just are not making them happy anymore. Understanding that life is not all about pleasing everybody else, that we need to be connected to our source, and that true happiness comes from accepting that we are divine beings and that we are here for the mission of love. So that is your reading. If you'd like to order or book a reading for yourself for your personal situation, you can find all of my information in the comments or the description section below. And I'm sending you lots of love and light through this transition. And namaste.